Everybody got their phones turned off, on silent, airplane mode. All right, you know the deal. After it goes off, I smash it. Coach, ready when you are.
Okay. Afternoon, everybody. We're excited to play LSU here at night. Another top 10 program coming in here, and deservedly so. Very well coached. Offensively, Nussmeier's playing really, really well, throwing the ball a lot of empty sets, more and more as weeks go by. Throwing it more and more, and they should. They're really good at tackle where they can protect both tackles, and really good at wide receiver. So our defense and tight end as well. Our defense has their work cut out for them because they're well coached and playing extremely well defensively. Both our defensive ends are a problem. Swenson and Jones, both really good players. I like their linebacker group as good as anybody that we played, starting with Weeks and then Penn and Burns. They're really good players. And then Gilbert's playing really good at safety, making a lot of tackles for them there. Defense probably is what you notice a little bit more this year, the improvement that they've made over last year. And then their special teams are really good as well. Have a great punt returner and kickoff returner. So they're in the top 10 for a reason, because they've well coached and big and fast. So we're excited about the challenge, but it certainly is a challenge.
Very good going.
Yeah, any update on Taylor, and how have you guys kind of managed him this week and last week?
Last week it was probably that way, Trey, for everybody on the team. We was trying to get healthy, but yet get some physicality as well on Thursday. Taylor practiced. First was a walkthrough, which he would be practicing whether he was healthy or not, in that. But he's practiced each day. We're hopeful that he'll be ready to go. So I feel like he will, but we'll have to wait and see a little bit more. I probably know a little bit more about Tuesday, Wednesday, but we're hoping that he's ready to play, and we think he'll be able to.
With the Oklahoma State game, you guys were able to watch the game live because y'all played on a Thursday, their Saturday game. Did y'all watch the LSU game, any kind of capacity like that?
I think our staff did. I watched the last quarter, I guess, live. Certainly, obviously came in yesterday and watched all of it, but I think most of our staff did. I didn't see it. I was at a concert. I'm gonna catch hell for that too. But by the way, so you guys know, we get the tape, and I can watch it and every rep like 50 times if I wanted to. My wife wanted to go to a concert, so I went. So y'all have fun with that. Tracy Lawrence. He was good.
Just other injury updates from you, Coach. Patrick Kudus, you mentioned him last week. Miguel Mitchell, Jalen Braxton, Rodney Hill.
Okay.
All at you at once.
Who'd you say? Kudus. Practiced. We'll practice this week. Hopefully he'll be available on Saturday. Miguel will be ready. Who else did you say?
Jalen Braxton.
Braxton, I don't think he'll be ready this week. And probably Rodney Hill will be out as well.
Okay, cool. And then as far as LSU's passing game, Ole Miss was able to keep Garrett Nussmeier pretty off balance for most of the game until the end there. Just how do you guys kind of emulate that? What did you see them do that might work?
Well, they tried a lot of different things. They got pressure on him. He moved up in the pocket there on that last one, threw a dart to tie the game. He is a little bit scary scrambling as well, but he knows where his pocket is. He's good in the pocket. As this may sound, they want to throw the football, but we have to stop their running game. And when we have to, they can't have both of them, or we'll be in trouble. So they got a few few plays in the running game. Got outside to contain, went for 20 or 30 yards a couple times. So, we have to get them. They'll want to be in five wides, but we need to get them to throw in the football, and hopefully, we can pick a few of them and get to them and get some negative plays. But that's when Ole Miss was having success. They won first down basically, and when they didn't, they didn't have as much success. And LSU got 2 fourth-down conversions on that last drive, and it's hard to do, but Nussmeier and the receivers did a great job. Well, the whole team, but they did a nice job of catching the ball, and he did a great job of stepping up and throwing it.
It's a rarity to play back-to-back top 10 opponents, but you're doing that. And I wonder if like the emotional high that you have to achieve, or you don't have to, but you achieved to win last time. If you feel confident the team can reach that again, and did the open week help in that regard?
Well, I believe that the open week would, you'd get through all your back pats and you're the greatest thing ever walked, So I think the bye week does that. It also gets us some more players back, where last week we didn't really have very many tight ends that were able to play. And now, we were using Street as a tight end, and now we, got some of those guys back too. But, I said it a while back that, when you play in this league, you could basically say, okay, this is a Cotton Bowl this week. Okay, well, this is a Peach Bowl. It is, and that's what it is. So you in this league, you have to get up every single game because there's really good opponents. And even we found out, even the ones that are unranked like us are pretty good. And so you have to, it's about the preparation. I think our kids, they understand that. And I feel like we had 4 really good days last week, and I think we will this week too. So I think it's more about the preparation, and that's in the mind too, but than it is anything else, and getting a little healthier. And we are that now.
Ask you about your defensive game plan, and you put forth some plans that other teams now follow. The Oklahoma
Yeah.
State plan and Tennessee that you borrowed from OU a little bit.
Yeah.
And I just wonder what your take is on how well prepared the planning that you've done defensively.
Well, I think with T. Will, it's his second year in this league specifically, as the main play caller and at Arkansas. And I think it makes a difference. You know your opponents a little bit better. With the transfer portal, you still don't know them quite as good as you in the old days. But I think that those guys have a better understanding of each other, have a better understanding of who we have on our team, because the plan has to work for what your personnel is. Just because someone else did it doesn't mean it can work for us because of personnel. But I think T. Will and his group in there have done a really good job of understanding who we have, how we can put pressure, how we can stop our opponents, and have done a really good job of not being afraid. Because like when you first come in, you might be afraid to try something because it's your first true spotlight. And I think we've had enough success now where he's going, okay, this is how we can win. This is what we can do. And I think he's much more comfortable, and especially since the success we've had of changing some things has worked. We'll see what happens on Saturday, though. But I think that has a lot to do with his confidence.
Nussmeier's only been sacked twice the entire year. I guess as an offensive line guy, just what has the LSU offensive line done so well that's going to present challenges this week?
Well, I didn't know that stat, but they're good at tackle. They're really good at tackle, and they're good at him being able to step up because their guards and centers they're big. They're guard and their center. But I think he gets rid of the ball. He gets rid of it fast, knows where he's going on his reads. And so that's why he's to me, and he has a quick release. I think that's probably why he's had a few sacks along with. I think their backs are good in protection when they use them. Now, a lot of times they'll empty out. And I think that their tackles are extremely good players.
You know, Landon has had a sack, I think, in each of the past 2 games, but his stats, they're still not, I don't know, anything crazy or elite, but he's playing really good football. What does Landon do that makes him so impactful, you know, even when he's not maybe getting to the quarterback?
He plays hard. Number one, he's long, but he plays hard. He has his get off is much faster this year than it's been. So he's putting the tackle in a two-way go. You know, obviously if you get off slow, you're either going to bull or run the edge. Now he has added that spin and or that inside move where he's getting the tackle to open up a little bit. It'll be a big challenge for their tackles and for him. Be a good matchup. But that's what he's doing. He's playing just so much quicker off the ball than what he has been.
And then on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage, you were really pleased with how the offensive line played against Tennessee. What went into maybe the improved play? Was it any better communication, any one particular person? What kind of led to that?
Well, I was pleased that we got better. We still have a long way to go there, but we have willing participants up there. I thought Carmona played as good a game as he's played since he's been here. I thought Nichols did. So when those guys started, Braun's been really consistent. E. Harris has been consistent. You know, Keyshawn has been consistent or has been good at times, and then sometimes his technique has gone awry on him, which we're trying to get fixed. And he's willing to. I love him. He's going to be fine. But I think as a group, they all 5 of them had some of their better game, a little bit better game than what they had before, and that makes them together. We didn't have the blatant missed assignments as much as we had in the past.
Talk about Braylon Russell, because I feel like we talk about him a little bit here and there, but just overall, what has he shown you since the day that he walked on campus for him to play such a role early on as a freshman?
Well, freshmen to get on the field, I think the first thing they have to show you is that they're tough. I mean, that's because if they're not, they'll be on for a game and off for 2. And so he's shown us that he's tough. And he's also been willing in pass protection. And those 2 guys with him and JJ, we need them to be because they're big guys. And but I thought that he would run the football about like what he is, you know, that he'd be a force and he'd get downhill, and he's faster than people think. But, you know, we went from spring ball to, well, he may help us in a year, to middle of spring ball. Hey, man, he might be 3 or 4, you know, now, and then to the end of spring ball, he's one of our top 3 backs. And then, so each week we've just, and I think we showed, I can't remember who we brought him in against, it might have been Auburn or maybe UAB here, where we brought him in. His first carry was on the 2, I think, for a touchdown. And so that told him and everybody else that we have belief in him. But the bottom line is he's run the ball hard, and we expect him to increase each week in his production.
Confidence heading into that Tennessee game, but do you think that final drive and how he was able to help that final drive have success help him in the bye week and maybe feel like he can take on a little bigger of a role?
Yeah, I think anytime somebody has success, that it you know, half the game is in the mind, and how do you feel about yourself and confidence and all that. And I think that certainly had to help him, along with that it helped the guys blocking for him, you know, that they feel like, so all that kind of collides in 11 people. But it started with him running over a guy or 2 in that last drive, I think.
Question about Braylon, just the maturity he maybe have that might be a bit older than his years as a freshman.
Yeah, you know, he's always kind of been that way, and hadn't said a whole lot when he speaks. He's thought about what he's going to talk about. But yeah, I think that's just from his mother and father and the raising that the upbringing that he's had, but he's very mature for his age and attacks practice that way as well.
Game since you've been here with LSU has been a 3-point game, one way or the other. You probably see another game just like that this weekend.
I believe it's going to be a close game. They have a really good team, and so do we. And so I think it'll come down to turnovers or whatever. We've got to play a smart game, physical game, because they're very, very physical. But we have high respect for them. But I think it'll be one hell of a game to come watch.
Coach, you said you hope to have Kudus available. Does that mean he could play?
Yeah, means he could. He certainly could. He's still having some pain in his back, and we've got to eliminate that before we put him out there. But he practiced all 3 days last week, but of course one of them was a walk. But
Shift things around. How would you?
Man, we're working on that one, Trey. So we'll have to see if he's available first.
Is that what you meant? You might have just been speaking in generalities on Wednesday, but you said bye weeks are for position moves and things like that. Was that anything like that, or maybe something?
Oh, it
else?
could have something to do there, if he's available. But he's got to earn the right to get on the field through his practice first. But no, anytime you have bye, you go over your entire roster and you try to say, okay, if putting him here, does that help us? Putting him here, does it hurt us? And you got to be right when you do that. You can't be wrong, because it's not going so bad as it is. But like Hudson Clark, what do you do with him? What do you do with him? Because he's a really good player, and how do we get him on the field more and all those things? So all that kind of goes hand in hand with the bye week.
I know you guys shorten practices a little bit, but a lot of times coaches will use bye weeks and scrimmage players who don't play much or anything. Any of that, and anybody stand out?
No. What's happening nowadays, you have several different things going on. One of them is I want a red shirt. I want a red shirt because for whatever reason. So now you lose 2, 3, 4, which we've lost a couple guys. And then you're sitting here going, well, you're trying to get people healthy, but yet you're willing to go out and crush your scout team, your exchange guys, to get them more of a look. We played 59 players, I think, last week. So we are depleted, like probably a lot of people on scout team. So we decided not to do that because obviously anytime you lose somebody, that puts stress on others, and they have to go 8 plays in a row instead of 4 or 10 plays in a row. And so as much as I hate that, because we used to do that, we weren't able to do it this one. Would we do it the next one? I don't know. It depends on the health of the team. But those kids always like to do it, and we do too as coaches. But we just felt like right now, because of where we were, the injury list is about that long, and we kind of wanted to shrink it a little bit, so we didn't do it.
I'm not sure if Paschke was on Christina's list, but what's his?
Yeah, he's ready. Thank the Lord. It's good for him.
All right, and then you played 3 redshirt freshman quarterbacks in a row with Auburn, A&M, and Tennessee games. Now you're facing a guy who's been through it a little bit more. How does that maybe play into the calculus of how you defend them?
Well, along with they can protect him, and he's got really good wideouts and tight ends. It will affect what we try to do against him. We have high respect. He's a really good thrower. But those other guys you're talking about, besides Marcel Reed, because he hadn't had as much game time even this year. He didn't start as a starter. We thought those other guys, and we thought he was too, because they all 3 were really good players, are really good players. It's probably still the same thing. You got to move the guy from where he wants to throw the ball from. You have to get in his face. You have to push the pocket. We just know that Nussmeier's older and with that sometimes becomes wiser, you know, and so I don't know how much it'll affect it though, to be honest with you.
This question's from Andrew Hutchinson. He wanted to know about if there have been any redshirt decisions that were made that you know of.
No, none at all.
You've been doing it now for, I guess, 3 weeks. Just thoughts on the SEC availability report. Has it made any difference? You got knowing also which players might be out for the other team that you're going up against.
Well, I still think the answer you'll see is probably on Friday. You know, I still think it's that way. I think the outs are the people that everybody in the world knows are out, you know, and then you probables and all that. But we certainly look at it, you know, and hopefully that we can find information out on that as well. But we do look at it.
Kyron Lacey, the LSU's number 1 wide receiver, just another great pass catcher. What about him makes him so dynamic, and what do you have to do well to limit him?
His ability to control his body. I mean, he can go up over the top of you. He can stop on a dime. Probably that, his route running. He's got everything, but he can. You know, it's amazing they replaced who they had with other great wide receivers. But you know, him catching the back shoulder there at the end, really good play. The thing about Lacey is if you look at that game, and I don't know what it was, maybe played 15, 14, 21, somewhere in there. I mean, it looks like he gets hit. It looks like he can't even come back. And 2 plays, he goes out of play, comes back. So he must be tougher than nail, you know, but he came back and then caught, I don't know how many balls, a bunch in the game in the winter, but it's just his ability. He got natural ball skills, but he can control his body as good as anybody I've seen.
Do you consider yourself having a secret weapon with Devin Bell? Because that last punt that he
2
kicked
of them, yeah.
was 66 yards. It flipped the field 27 yards
Mhm.
and made it, you know, a lot more manageable with Malachi, because we started on what, the 41 or 42-yard line. So
Yes,
is he that good?
yes.
He looks that good.
Well, the other thing too, he's infectious. I mean, the guy's got the greatest personality of anybody. And he's just a lot of fun to be around. But yeah, I mean, those last 2 punts flipped it, and they were really big. But I love the kid. I love him, and he's just such a positive guy. Brings a lot of energy to our team.
Coach, appreciate you.
All right, guys.